So the Patriots only need an edge rusher, right? And then we're back to the winning ways. All of the elephant in the room questions have been raised after the Patriots lose 40-7 at home against the LA Chargers. We'll examine here on Pat's Cast.
It's a cold day in Foxborough, the crowd's full of pain. Look at Drake May took the snap, but the hits reign the game. No protection, no.
Welcome to Pat's Cast. I'm Brad Whitaker. The New England Patriots fall to the Los Angeles Chargers 40-7 in the penultimate game of the season, and really at this point just wish it was the final game of the year. Nothing good to take out of that uninspiring performance from the New England Patriots. That is a quote coming from Gerard Mayo just now, who just took the podium for his post-game press conference. Patriots get blown out at home by 33 points. Really only scored the 7 points on a free play, a great heads-up play by Drake May to throw it deep to Demario Douglas to get in the end zone after the Chargers jumped offsides defensively. Patriots only 7 points of the game. Drake May really had no time to throw the football today. The Patriots were unable to run the football much outside of a few positive plays with Drake May's legs. Drake May also went down with what looked like a concussion, was cleared, came back into the game after a series with Jacoby Brissett. Also took another hit to the head almost immediately after he came back into the game. Drake May took 4 sacks for 30 yards, and Jalen Polk and Javon Baker stalled a garbage time drive with 2 consecutive drops back-to-back at the end of the game. But that's enough about the offense, because the offense, as terrible as they played today, really this all falls on the defense. The offense didn't even have an opportunity. They didn't reach 20 minutes in times of possession, meaning the Chargers had the ball for more than 2/3 of the game, more than 66.6% of the game. The LA Chargers had the football on offense, and they just toyed with the Patriots all game. Justin Herbert, 26 of 38, 281 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no sacks. I think the Patriots, from my eyes, from the eye test, from my count, maybe they got more. It looked like they had 1 pressure all game on Justin Herbert coming from Keion White, who merely touched him for about half a second. And that was about it. And Chargers were able to throw the ball easily. Christian Gonzalez left the game early in the game, I think early in the second quarter with a concussion. Chargers, they opened the game deciding, hey, we're going to run the ball easily on the Patriots. Gonzo leaves the game. They say, okay, we're going to be able to throw the ball at will. They were able to run it early. They were able to throw it early. They came out of the locker room at halftime, thought the Chargers would run the ball. Nope, they stayed aggressive with the passing attack. Very rare for Harbaugh to do that. He is a pounded up the middle type head coach, but they were able to do whatever they wanted to do, whether it was attack the Patriots on the ground, attack them in the air. Chargers only punted twice all game. 147 yards rushing, and only 12 of those came from the quarterback. So another game where the Patriots are giving up 140 plus on the ground. And Justin Herbert could have thrown for 400 yards if he wanted to today. And, you know, it's not like the Patriots didn't look like they could play with this team. I mean, everyone talks about the talent deficit the Patriots have, and they certainly had a talent deficit against the Chargers today, and they had it against the Bills last week. But it's not like this massive drop-off, especially on defense. The Patriots have good defensive players. They don't have, other than Christian Gonzalez, they don't really have any elite defensive players right now, but they have enough good defensive players to not give up 40 points in late December against a team that plays in Los Angeles. There's just no excuses there. And, you know, I watched them against Buffalo. I watched them against the Cardinals on the road when they got blown out there. And I looked at this Patriots team and I said, like, they can play with these guys. Like, there's not a massive deficit there in terms of talent. And they just, to quote Gerard Mayo, it comes back to fundamental football. They just can't make the proper tackles. They can't fill in the correct lanes. Kyle Duggar was responsible for it looked like at least 1 touchdown today, perhaps 2. He had another bad game. He's a guy who needs real coaching. He's a guy who needs his hand held all game long when he doesn't have Bill Belichick or Devin McCourty out there. Kyle Duggar is a big drop-off this season in terms of performance under Gerard Mayo. They can't get to the quarterback. Like I said, Keon White touched Justin Herbert once. That was basically all the pressure the Patriots were able to get all game on the LA Chargers. And what about Ladin Mackinnon? All right, this guy goes off. 8 catches, 94 yards. He was selected 34th overall in this past NFL draft. You know who had the 34th overall pick before they traded it to trade back and take Jalen Polk? The New England Patriots. So the Patriots liked Jalen Polk over Ladin Mackinnon, a guy who you watch and you say, like, this is the Amendola, Wes Welker, Julian Edelman player we've seen in New England. A guy who looks like he could be a blue chip player for the Patriots if they had just stayed and taken him at 34th overall. Instead, Elliott Wolf decides to trade back, take Jalen Polk. Well, that really cost them. Ladin Mackinnon is Justin Herbert's favorite target by far, has really filled in the gaps with Keenan Allen no longer there, with Mike Williams no longer there. Ladin Mackinnon is the number one guy in the NFL as a rookie, one of the best young receivers in the league now. Patriots could have had him if they just stayed pat at 34th overall. He scores 2 touchdowns today. He now has more career touchdowns at Gillette Stadium than Jalen Polk and Javon Baker combined. Javon Baker still looking for his first catch as a member of the New England Patriots, had a drop in garbage time late today. And of course, finally, to put the cherry on top for this horrendous performance, Patriots crowd, which was quiet all game, watching uninspiring football on the defensive side of the football where the Chargers could do whatever they want. Cautious, tight football, even when they were in no huddle from the Patriots offense with Drake May. We didn't get the late heroic garbage time points we've gotten the last few weeks from Drake May. That didn't happen today. They just played tight all game. To put the cherry on top, the fans decided after being quiet all game to chime in there in the fourth quarter and start chanting, "Fire Mayo." And the questions, all of the elephant in the room questions, as I said, have to be raised after this game. Because we've heard it all season long. We've heard it the last few weeks. Patriots are going to stick with Gerard Mayo, assuming they at least do something these last few games. Well, they did something 6 days ago against the Buffalo Bills. They had a chance to win that game. They were up 14-0 midway through the second quarter. The Patriots had a chance to beat a real Super Bowl contender. That was enough to say, okay, Gerard Mayo probably should keep his job. Maybe we should even run it back with Alex Van Pelt to Marcus Covington, who had by far his best game as Patriots defensive coordinator. Made sense. Okay, we can stop this conversation now. Well, then you lose 40-7 at home against a team that, I mean, the Chargers are good. Like, they might be the 5th or 6th best team in the AFC, but this is not a team I expect to be in the Super Bowl. And you're at home. They play in LA. It's 40 degrees, foggy, New England conditions in late December. A warm day for December, but still nothing comfortable for a team that plays essentially indoors in Los Angeles. And you give up 40 points, and you lose by 33 points. All of the questions have to be raised after that with Robert Kraft, and the consensus from everything I'm hearing is Robert Kraft loves Gerard Mayo, and he wants him to ultimately stay. Jonathan Kraft, I guess, was never very bullish on the Gerard Mayo hire. He was the one who was a little bit hesitant, especially after Robert Kraft essentially made the decision to hire Gerard Mayo after a trip to Israel about 5 years ago, before he really had any experience as a coach in the NFL. Well, maybe this is the time for Robert Kraft to finally hand the keys fully to Jonathan Kraft to make those decisions. And the narrative in New England has been, Jonathan Kraft, he's a meddler, we got to keep him out of things. I don't think he's really in things that much. It's still Robert Kraft's team. And, Robert Kraft, he said he trusted his gut, he trusted his instincts. Clearly it didn't work out. Clearly the game's gone by him. Clearly he's been resting on his laurels for a few years now with all the Tom Brady ceremonies and the statue ceremony that's still yet to happen with Brady after the other 2 ceremonies with Brady. He's resting on his laurels. He doesn't have the same desire to win. I think Jonathan Kraft does have that desire. And I think Jonathan Kraft is the type of guy who's willing to say, all right, let's do a full-scale reset here. Because, look, the truth is we can't have these half measures. As I've said on the podcast before, we cannot have a half measure where it's just, all right, we'll replace, we'll replace Tyler Hughes, the wide receivers coach. Maybe we'll replace DeMarcus Covington. AVP did a good job developing Drake May. We'll give Gerard Mayo another chance. He was a rookie head coach. That's a half measure. That's not going to do anything. Maybe it also starts with the front office. I've been increasingly critical of Elliott Wolf these last few weeks, especially today after seeing Ladin Mackinnon, who the Patriots could have had. Imagine what he could have done with Drake May. Imagine how much easier Drake May's life would be with Ladin Mackinnon. I haven't been as critical as most on Elliott Wolf because he didn't have a lot to work with last year despite having a ton of cap space. There wasn't a lot of opportunity there. I thought for the most part, he brought back the foundational pieces I wanted him to bring back, other than Duggar and even Stevenson. I didn't want to bring those guys back, and it seems like I was correct in that choice in terms of long-term extensions. But, there's been talk about maybe you bring in a football czar, a Bill Parcells type guy, and Tom Curran floated out Scott Pioli, who obviously had great success with the Patriots in the past. He could oversee Elliott Wolf and Gerard Mayo and the whole operation and just make sure everything is running smoothly there. But if you're going to do that, you might as well just fire Elliott Wolf, Matt Groh, and make Scott Pioli or whoever this football czar is going to be the general manager. Maybe that's something Mike Vrabel would actually be interested in. I mean, from everything I hear, he wants to coach. He wants to be an NFL head coach once again, and he'll certainly get an opportunity somewhere, whether it's New England or not next season. But maybe there is some incentive there. Maybe look, Mike Vrabel's a really smart guy. I mean, he's a guy that, from everything I've heard, picks everything up instantly, has a photographic memory. He's the type of guy who I think could make that transition from coaching to the front office, a la Brad Stevens. I think a guy like Mike Vrabel could do that. Would he want to do that with Gerard Mayo as the head coach and kind of be meddling and everything and saying, hey, you guys still aren't doing anything to stop the run. Here's what I would suggest. No, he probably just wants to be a head coach. So, look, if you want to keep Gerard Mayo, then maybe that is the best thing you do, is you run it back mostly with this coaching staff, but then you get rid of Elliott Wolf, you get rid of Matt Groh, and you bring in a Scott Pioli. He's the general manager, but he's also the football czar to make sure the coaching operation is running smoothly, and he's ultimately the guy who the buck stops with. He's not going to make the in-game decisions, but he'll be in charge of the 53-man roster. He'll be in coaches' meetings. He'll be an advisor to everything that's going on for every coach there. I could see that potentially working, but, why do that if you have the opportunity to just start over with a guy like Mike Vrabel? And from everything I'm hearing, I think Mike Vrabel has made it clear that he wants to coach, not just in the NFL again, we know that's clear, but with the Patriots. And, the person who had the most smoke on this was Boston Connor on the Pat McAfee show. So he's maybe not the most reliable source, but he was essentially indirectly saying that this is already lined up and that Mike Vrabel and the Patriots is close to a sure thing at this point. I don't think that's the case, but I will go off of reports from guys like Tom Curran or Greg Bedard who were saying Mike Vrabel would be interested in coaching the New England Patriots. And those are certainly guys who have a way of accessing Vrabel if Vrabel hasn't already spoken to them about his interest already. Tom Curran and Greg Bedard are not going to put that out there unless that interest is real. So, again, you could go the route of having the football czar or, making some half measures. But if you're going to do all of that, you might as well just start over altogether and bring in a new GM, bring in a head coach, especially if Mike Vrabel's interested. You could run it back with Josh McDaniels, potentially. Greg Bedard's been the one who's talked about that a lot, that he's heard there is a linkage there that the two want to coach together, and McDaniels is willing to be his offensive coordinator. Look, I'm not as happy with Alex Van Pelt these last few weeks, but if they can make that happen with Vrabel and McDaniels and you keep Van Pelt somehow as the quarterback's coach, I've heard a few people float this out there. He's willing to take a demotion. He's had a long coaching career. Maybe he doesn't want to keep this offensive coordinator. I think Alex Van Pelt kind of wants to be a head coach, but he's, in his 50s at this point. Maybe he's okay with taking a demotion and just being a good quarterback's coach because he's done a great job with Drake May. I mean, that's another opportunity there. Maybe there are some members of the staff that you could bring back, like Alex Van Pelt in different roles. But at 40-7 at home, coming off of a moral victory essentially against the Buffalo Bills, everything has to be on the table at this point for Robert Kraft, and including giving the keys over to Jonathan Kraft, because it hasn't worked out over the last few years. And why did we fire Bill Belichick? It wasn't really the coaching. It was because he was not a great GM. And his curmudgeon attitude, people no longer had the patience for. And he just did not have the talent on the field. And instead, you brought back his top advisors in the front office, Elliot Wolf and Matt Groh. You're getting similar results with an inferior head coach. I think it's worth blowing up the whole thing. I've kind of expressed that the last month or so, and this loss certainly leads me in that direction. But some of the silver linings coming out of this game, Cole Strange had a couple penalties. He was an ineligible man downfield. I think he had a holding call earlier in the game, but for the most part, his first game back coming off of a rough injury, missed basically a full year of football, playing center for the first time. And this isn't Bill O'Brien or Josh McDaniels' offense. This is center and Alex Van Pelt's offense. That is kind of the quarterback position pre-snap in this kind of hybrid West Coast style offense, or whatever offense the Patriots run nowadays. The center has enormous responsibility. And yeah, I know he had a couple bad penalties, but for the most part, I thought Cole Strange, at least with the eye test, looked really good out there. And that's encouraging, because who knows how much longer the Patriots are going to be able to run it with David Andrews. You know, he's coming off of an injury. I don't think he wants to retire. He seems like he wants to come back next year, but you may have your center of the future with Cole Strange, who's, you know, been a bit shaky at times as a left guard, but he's for the most part been competent, been reliable at the position. If you can head into next year knowing that, all right, David Andrews is back at center, we can put Cole Strange at left guard, we're comfortable with that. Mike Owenu, a decent right guard, took a step back this year, but we're comfortable with that. We're not even going to play around with him at tackle. We're good in the center, right? We have Cole Strange, who will be our center of the future. He's going to be at left guard. You have David Andrews, more than reliable at center, Mike Owenu at right guard. Then you just have to worry about the tackle positions, which hopefully you can address in free agency in the draft. And if David Andrews goes down with an injury, or he takes an enormous step back because he's been playing football for a long time, or he decides to retire, well, you got plenty of depth at guard. I think Ladin Robinson, there's something there. You can move Cole Strange over to center, and that was really encouraging today, despite the 2 penalties. So, you know, that is a tough spot for your first game back, getting real reps, being center for a rookie quarterback. And I thought Cole Strange and Drake May, for the most part, did a pretty good job there. Oh, no, I think he had 1 penalty. He had 1 play where he snapped the ball early. That's what happened with Cole Strange. That was not great. So that was the one error out there, but for the most part, he did a good job. And the last silver lining that's huge, Patriots have locked up a top 5 NFL draft pick. So what are the biggest needs? We all know the tackle position is a huge need. They need an edge rusher, and they need a real number 1 wide receiver. Well, you're going to have opportunities for all of those positions within the top 5. They're currently at number 2 overall. They stay in the top 2. We're going to have this conversation for many months, so I'm not going to break it down, but you have the chance to take a future Hall of Famer, potentially a real blue chip player, a guy who's going to sell jerseys, Travis Hunter, who could play full-time offense, occasionally cornerback, or vice versa. You could take him. There you have potentially your number 1 wide receiver, or nobody's going to be able to throw on you with Gonzalez or Travis Hunter. So that's appealing. You could go with Kelvin Banks Jr., the tackle out of Texas. Did have a rough, season finale or a game a couple weeks ago. I think he has short arms. I need to examine him more, but for the most part, he's considered the top tackle in this draft. I've heard he would have been number 2 last year behind Joe Alt, who we saw look great today for the LA Chargers. So you could take a tackle, Kelvin Banks. Will Campbell from LSU, we'll see if he's in that conversation. Abdul Carter, very good edge rusher, a guy who is going to be able to pressure the quarterback and take care of that problem immediately. If the Patriots take him, they win next week, take him at like 4th or 5th overall, I'd still be very happy with that, and you're not going to have these issues where Justin Herbert basically has one pressure and zero sacks all game. I think Abdul Carter's the type of difference maker who could do that right away. And of course, there's options to trade back and stockpile picks and, address, Patriots are going to have a top 5 first round pick, top 5 second round pick. They have 2 third round picks. You could trade back and then you're with 2 firsts or 2 seconds or future firsts. There's a lot that they could do there. So that is a silver lining coming out of this game. We are potentially looking at a 3-14 season, which means the Patriots have regressed from Bill Belichick's 4-13 season last year, but Patriots do have a shot to win next week. Seemingly the Bills will have locked up the number 2 seed. I don't think they have it locked up quite yet as of this recording, but seemingly they will have it locked up. So will they even play Josh Allen? Will they only play him partially in the game? And how much will that impact the decision whether or not to keep Gerard Mayo and this coaching staff? Because they go out and they win next week against second and third string players on the Bills. Like, how much information is there? They go out and lose that game. They lose that game badly. Then it's like, all right, well, now you have to fire him. So that's going to be interesting. We'll see what the Buffalo Bills do, assuming they do lock up that number 2 pick. They can't get the first round bye. The Chiefs locked that up on Christmas Day. So yeah, rough day to be a Patriots fan. I thought this would probably be a close, low-scoring game, but when you can't pressure the quarterback going against a guy like Justin Herbert, they're going to put 40 points on you pretty easily. So, rough game. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think the Patriots should do? Do you think this definitely means they will fire Gerard Mayo and the coaching staff? What do you think they should do in the front office with Elliott Wolf, with Matt Groh? What do you think of the football czar idea that I threw out there that we've heard lots of Boston news reporters and podcasters talk about? Do you want to go that route? Do you want to just run it back with everyone once again with Gerard Mayo, with Elliott Wolf? What do you think about the Krafts with Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft? Let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to hear from you. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, or subscribe if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and we'll see you throughout the week.
It's a cold game, Foxborough. The crowd's full of pain. With your drink made took the snaps, but the hits blame the game. No protection, no progress. The O-line's a sieve. 40-7, man, it's hard to forgive. All paths cast, where did we go wrong? 5-8 chance, echo like a broken song. Ladin Mackinnon scored 2, while we scored just 1. This team's high draft pick, better get the job done. Herbert's on fire, McConkey runs free, while Duggar and Jones miss the man on D. Our rookie's poking Baker, we're nowhere in sight. Feels like we've been fumbling all through the fight. All paths cast, where did we go wrong? 5-8 chance, echo like a broken song. Ladin Mackinnon scored 2, while we scored just 1. This team's high draft pick, better get the job done. Cole Strange snaps early, mistakes in the air. May's running for his life, but nobody's there. Fans are booing, the hopes are slim, when the 4th down sacks keep rolling in. J.K. Dobbins sealed it, pounding on the ground, while Booty and Douglas tried to turn it around. But the effort fell short, the fans hit their lows. At least the high draft pick's the only bright glow. All paths cast, where did we go wrong? 5-8 chance, echo like a broken song. Ladin Mackinnon scored 2, while we scored just 1. This team's high draft pick, better get the job done. So we'll keep the faith through this long dark year. Patcast will break it down, make it all clear. The loss is hurting now, but just wait and see. Next season's redemption might set us free.